8th graders. So let's look at this subtraction, addition, division, multiplication foldable that you're going to make. So first things first, with this foldable, I want you to please cut along this black line on the outside so that way this becomes just simply a nice little square piece. So I'm going to finish up my cutting, take that away. I want you to do the same thing, so you just have this nice little thing. It's just like your scientific notation foldable that you did yesterday, or that you did on Tuesday, I should say. With this, I want you to now fold these inside on the dotted lines, so that way you have these nice little triangles that are folded in, and you are set and ready to go. And then you got all you need to have. Cool. All right, so now I have these foldables all ready to go. If you want, you can totally color on the outside. Like I would totally color in the addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division sign, but that's just me. If you don't want to, that's totally fine. But now we are going to go through these step by step, and we are going to write down a few things. I'm actually going to start with multiplication here, and then we'll do addition and subtraction in another video. So let's do multiplication and division. So steps with multiplication, a few things that we need to pay attention to are these. So when we're doing multiplication, step 1, we need to multiply the, let's say, decimal numbers. They're not all decimals always, because you might just have 9 instead of like 4.5. But multiply those decimal numbers, just the plain number up in front that's not a power of 10. Okay, so remember you can move everything around with the commutative property, so we can get those decimal numbers sort of together. So multiply the decimal numbers together, and then step 2, add the exponents on the powers of 10. So now let's do an example problem, and I'll try to write this really big so you can see it. I know it's a little tricky given the angle that we have going on. But I have 1.5 times 10 to the 5th, 1.5 times 10 to the 5th, and I'm multiplying that by 4 times 10 to the 3rd. Those are my scientific notation operation numbers, okay? So now what I can do is I can multiply just the decimal numbers. So I'm going to multiply 1.5 times 4. I'm going to rearrange this and do 1.5 times 4, and I should get 6 from that. And now I'm going to look at my decimals. So I'm going to look at this first. And now I'm going to look at my decimal, or my powers of 10, I should say. And I have 10.5 times, or 10 to the 5th times 10 to the 3rd, and I get 10 to the 5 plus 3, because I'm multiplying my bases. That means I have 5 tens times 3 tens. So I need to add my exponents. I get 10 to the 8th. So my final answer here would be 6 times 10 to the 6th, or 10 to the 8th. Oh my goodness, I am missaying things all over the place. 6 times 10 to the 8th. Cool? Cool. Now let's do division. Division. Steps are really similar with division, except we're dividing instead of multiplying. So first step, divide the decimal numbers, so any number that's not a power of 10. Divide those decimal numbers. And then step 2, subtract the exponents on the powers of 10. Subtract the exponents on the powers of 10. So example problem. We have 6 times 10 to the negative 2nd, a fairly small number, divided by 2 times 10 to the 3rd. It's a really big number. So if we're dividing a small number by a big number, we're going to end up with a really small number. So we should have a number that's even more negative in terms of its power of 10. So first things first, we're going to divide our decimal numbers. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Okay, 6 divided by 2 is 3. And now I'm going to work with my powers of 10. I have 10 to the negative second on top divided by 10 to the third, which means I am going to do the math of 10 to the negative second minus 3, or 10 to the negative 5. Ooh, getting really small there. So I have 3 times 10 to the negative fifth as my final answer. So again, I got a really, really small number, which makes sense. I have a really small number divided by a really big number, and I should get a really, really small number from that situation. So there's multiplication and division. You should now complete some multiplication and division practice. Your multiplication and division practice looks like this. You have a little coloring sheet. You should be doing some multiplication and division on this side, then finding the corresponding. Good. And find the corresponding number over here on this to color in. That was Mr. Lundy. Everybody say hi. He's so funny. And yeah, the answer key will be up on Canvas for this coloring sheet. Cool? Cool. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.